this is the second part. Sorry guys, it was just a really long video and I couldn't do it, so it has to be 1 and 2, but I hope you enjoy it and they're gonna get a lot more polished as we go along. Thank you guys. How much I care about you. I'll sit in the snow. Okay guys, this is the snow in February, so I thought I could, find the bravery to come sit outside in the snow. We're doing that. I got book mail today. So today is book mail's Best Practices, Encouraging Confidence and Relationship Building by Bianca Clark. Practicing what you've learned today will help build your confidence, poise, and elegance. Always remember that this is what makes us the best. London, her older sister Sierra or Cece, and Malachi Archaea, their teenage brother, listens to their parents' wise words and realize that the only way to improve, avoid common mistakes, and grow as a person would be to invest in themselves. So that was the book mail for this week. However, it was so cold. I couldn't do it. I was sitting on a wet chair. I was not dressed properly. Like when your hands are warming up and it burns a little? That's what's happening right now. So here's snow. I don't want to sit in it. It's too cold. I'm not used to snow. Rain, I can handle. Snow, I don't know what to do with snow. I don't know what to do with it. Obviously, you can't sit in it because it's really cold. It reminds me of that scene from White Christmas where they're snow, it won't be long before there's snow. The next book is Come True by Brindy Quinn, a bomb ASS genie romance. This be it. It's so pretty. Isn't that a pretty cover? Okay. Recent college graduate Dolly Jones has spent the last year stubbornly trying to atone for a mistake that cost her everything. She doesn't go out, she doesn't make new friends, and she sure doesn't treat herself to things she hasn't earned. But when her most recent thrift store purchase proves home to a hot magical genie determined to draw out her darkest desires in exchange for a taste of her soul, Dolly's restraint and patience will be put to the test. Newbie genie Velis Relhonder will do anything to beat his older half-brother in a soul-collecting contest that will determine the next heir to their family estate, even if it means coaxing desire out of the least palatable humans he's ever contracted. As a djinn from a polluted bloodline, Velis knows what it's like to work twice as hard as everyone else, and he won't let anyone, not even Dolly Jones, stand in the way of his birthright. He just needs to figure out her heart's greatest desire before his ASS little brother can get to her first. Come True, a bomb ASS genie romance, is the romantic fantasy second coming-of-age story of two flawed 20-somethings from different realms battling their inner demons and each other one wish at a time. This is a Midnight Tide Publishing book by Brindy Quinn. Journey, and what I mean by war book, his sword has electrocution going through it, so a fantasy war book is what I meant, not a historical. I don't think it's historical fiction, it looks like fantasy. Paladins are nothing but trouble. Stories about paladins are everywhere. Noble warriors riding magic steeds into battle against terrible foes. Champions of their gods. Heroes to everyone except those who already have everything. Paladins are notorious for upsetting the balance of power to the detriments of anyone who doesn't worship their deity. So when Krell is called to serve by the capricious gods of the sea and skies, Reknor, those with wealth and power can't help but be concerned. Reknor hasn't called a paladin in years, and his nature is even changing and erratic. The fact that Krell is always an uneducated nobody with a stubborn streak as white as the sea turns their concern into fear, all of which matters less than the threat clawing its way from the waves ready to turn the ocean red with spilled blood. And this book is by Brian Cole. And it says, Brian Cole is an avid reader and has loved the fantasy genre since he was a child. His love of stories of mighty knights, terrible dragons, and noble steeds has inspired him for decades. And this is by, I believe, Tellwell Publishing. Let's make sure. I believe so. It says The Paladin Journey, Book 1. To my friends who make everything better, you know who you are. And to my wife, who showed me that what a strong woman really is. Beginning of Arrogance, copyright 2022. A Fat Paladin publication. Tellwell Talent. Tellwell Talent, I believe, is the publishing company. Let me tell you something. So I have to share my Audible account. I have to share it with my husband. And so we're like, okay, well, I want the 2 credits because we get 3 a month. And he's like, I want the 2 credits and you get the 1 this time. I'm like, oh, that's okay. But every time he gets an audiobook, it's like a war fantasy book. And I've never really been able to get into one. I think it's just the narration, maybe. It's just, maybe I need to see the words because it always just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know what that is. So this is going to be a very first for me. I have never actually picked up a fantasy book like this, like a dark fantasy book. I've done like dark romance books and I've done fantasy books and like nursery rhymes, but never like a war fantasy book, besides like The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, but those don't count so much. Well, maybe they do. So this will be like kind of like that. So Beginning of Arrogance, Book 1 of A Paladin's Journey. And my husband is going to be so proud of me. I know. You're so disrespectful. Respect the books. Respect the books. Alright. Are you done? You come sit with me? Come on. We've got stuff to do. Okay, don't look at me. I won't look at you either. Don't look at me. So this year for 2023, I decided to make a read all of the authors' works list. So I'm going to pick a couple authors that I really enjoy more than 1 or 2 of their books, or if they wrote a book that is my favorite, and I'm going to try and read everything written by the author. So far I have Liz Hamilton is on that list, and Isabella Landi. I just added her since I've gotten all these books. So here's a little bit about the author Isabella Landi. The long petal of the sea and wine and snow. As unlikely partners, they embark their exiles as the rest of Europe erupts into the World War. Starting over on a new continent, Rosa and Victor face trials after trial, but they will always find joy as they await the day when they might go home. Through it all, their hopes of returning to Spain keep them going, destined to witness the battles between freedom and repression as it plays out across the world. Rosa and Victor will find that home might have been closer than they thought all along. A masterful work of historical fiction about hope, exile, and belonging. A long petal of the sea shows Isabella Landi at the height of her powers. So I did a big library haul, I believe last week, that I still haven't showed you everything that I got. But I do believe I know there was over 20 books that I picked up. Like, I just, where you have that urge to go to the library and you overdo it and you're like, uh-oh, but I'm not mad about it. That's what happened. So I stumbled across and was just walking down, and I found Isabella Landi books, like a lot of her books. And I was like, oh, yes. And so I kind of grabbed one of each copy, and that's where we are. So this is A Long Petal of the Sea, and the first Isabella Landi book, back up, boop, the first one that I ever read was Eva Luna, and this book has been through it. It was a library book, and then, my child got a hold of it, so I replaced it. So I actually bought a new book, and then, and it has, my tabs are sticking out too far, but it really is a beautiful book. And as you can see, like, I was only halfway through annotating it, and I'm not done with it yet. So I'm definitely going to be going back, and then eventually someday we'll have a little chat about this one too, because I have to say I gave it 5 stars, but it's probably going to be one of those books that I read every year. Like, we all have one of those books that we want to read over and over. That is one of them. So here is A Long Petal of the Sea by Isabella Landi. From the New York Times bestselling author of The House of the Spirit, this epic novel spanned decades across continents, following 2 young people as they flee aftermath of the Spanish Civil War in search of a place to call home. In the late 1930s, Civil War gripped Spain. When General Franco and his fascists succeed in overthrowing the government, hundreds of thousands are forced to flee. and treacherous journey over the mountains to the French border. Among them is Roser, a pregnant young widow who finds her life intertwined with that of Victor Dalma, an army doctor and his brother of her deceased love. In order to survive, the two must unite in marriage neither of them desire. Together with 2,000 other refugees, they embark on the SSS Winnipeg, a ship chartered by the poet Pablo Neruda to Chile. In 2014, President Barack Obama awarded Allende the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civil rights honor, and in 2018 she received the Medal of Distinguished Contributor to American Letters from the National Book Foundation. She has also received Penn Center USA Lifetime Achievement Award. Born in Peru and raised in Chile, she now lives in California. IsabellaAllende.com, and at Facebook, Isabella Allende. Twitter and Instagram, all Isabella Allende. So she is one of the authors that I have picked this year to binge read the books. So that's Isabella Allende, and I'm excited to read, especially since all her books have been translated into so many languages. You know, they've got to be good, right? That's just a tip of the iceberg that lets us know they're good. Today's the day. It's crunch time. It is Saturday, and we have reading to finish, or next week we have punishments. So either way, at the end of the video, I'm going to have the rules for the roll-a-thon, and I'm also going to have the rules for the book jail if I don't finish the reading, what happens to me. So, all right, time to finish it up and see what next week has in store for us. I'm hoping I can finish. It was 8.5 hours of rolling complete this week, so let's hope I can do that. So within the 40-minute sprint, I read chapter 1. I was falling asleep a little bit, not because the book's bad, just because I'm cozy and the book was comforting. It sounds like a mix between like Star Wars, because the guy's a paladin and he seems to have like kind of like a mentor, and then they're teaming up with like a bunch of orcs, and then it crosses over to like Lord of the Rings territory because the dwarves have a problem. They said there's something living down there and they want them to come kill it. They're like, just go kill the monster, come out, get paid. That's the end of it, right? So we've got paladins and orcs going to help dwarves with something in their caves. That was chapter 1. I'll do better. But so far, like, it does just seem like a mix of all of the classics, but that's just chapter 1. So we'll see how that evolves. It is Sunday, which is crunch day for the reading roll-a-thon. Any sprints you didn't finish, you have until today, and the new one starts tomorrow, and then we do punishments. So I'm probably actually going to cut myself off at about 4 today, and then just do, accept the inevitable book board jail. But, so, the bonus for Sundays, because Sundays don't count, that's only you can bank that time to get yourself out of jail later. So the roll for today, Sunday, was 1 round, but 30 minutes. 1 round at 30 minutes. That's an easy one. So if you finished your reading for the week and you're on board with the roll-a-thon, go ahead and have some bonus time and bank that. Like, you might need it. We might get a hefty week. We never know. A little side note, because we're both learning as we make up this game how to play. So from now on, I'll be doing all the rolls starting on Monday morning. So I'll post the rolls for the whole week so you know how many sprints. That way, if you have extra time one day, you can do it. I think we're just going to count it as the whole week. And then we'll have a punishment round that posts so you can track how much you owe the book bank and then the books that you're supposed to find prompts for. And then at the end, we'll have the book the the roll-a-thon page of shame where you can share with everybody how much you owe the bank. We're excited to play with it, right? I kind of am. I'm kind of scared. So what we do is we read the Monday through Saturday time, and then you add it all up, subtract it from the time that was totaled, and then that is your penalty, the fines that you have to take. And then if you read on Sunday, you can actually subtract some of that time as bonus time. So say that you didn't read an hour on Thursday, but you read a full hour on Sunday because there was a full hour available. Right now there's only 40 minutes available. So, it just depends on how much is available for the Sundays, and you can bank more than you need. So if you only need 10 minutes and you read an hour extra on Sunday, you can bank the extra time for next time that you need it. So you have an extra 50 minutes positive in the bank. That was part 2 of 3 for the first week, so go ahead and head over to 3 of 3 so you can see how the week ended for me.